Taking it out. Afternoon, folks. Andrew and Ella, Tabletop Farms. We are going to do a microgreens video for you. Now, this is going to be several videos that we're going to have to do just for variety because microgreens are temperamental. Every one of them is different. I should say they can be temperamental, not necessarily that they all are. But we are going to do this video, but we're going to do some basics as well on this thing. So, where this all starts is with your soil. We use all organic soil. If you can get organic, that'd be great. Again, you're taking these right 2 weeks. That's what microgreens, from seed to harvest. Generally speaking, we're talking about 2 weeks. So where we're going to start is we use a organic seed starter. This is a Pro Mix actually, and as you can see, it's out of the bag and it's dry. So what we have to do is we first have to get some moisture in that, and we know we have it wet enough when we can squeeze it. Water doesn't come out, but it does hold its shape. And we will show you what that looks like here in just 1 second. The tub that we are using is a 40-gallon tub. You can buy it at any farm supply. It's a livestock watering tank, actually. These work out really great. They may make them a little smaller than this. They make them a whole lot bigger, and we use all the way up to the 110-gallon ones, I believe. So these work really well for your seed mix and things like that. So we're going to try to do this video to where I don't have to edit this. So we're going to pause and we're going to try see how this all works. Today we're going to actually do 2 microgreens. They're fairly close to each other, same measurement. So this is not exactly how we do microgreens. We do a lot of seeding with drop seeders. But for these videos, we're actually going to show you the amounts with measuring spoons. So you're not actually having to measure weights, which is what we used to do. We're going to convert that into generally probably tablespoons for you. And we'll start off with kale. The actual variety is red Russian kale that we're going to do today. And then we're also going to do radishes. So if you like a lot of, not a lot, but you like some spice up in your food, it's a great addition to salads and things like that. And then the kale's just good by itself. So we're going to try this, and we'll get this soil right here watered, and then we'll start with the seeding process. So we're just going to mix all that water right on in that soil, get it to that uniform. So we use a germ chamber, what you're seeing behind us here. Not everything is going to go in the germ chamber. And I'll speak on more of that later, but most of our stuff will go into a germ chamber. The thing that we're looking for is a 75 degree to 80 degree temperature on our microgreens. That generally is a good area for your microgreens to be at to get germination. After they're germinated, they can actually go to a lower temperature. Obviously, the lower temperature will slow the growth down a little bit, but we're talking even to 60 to the 70 degree. If you can keep them about 70, you're looking at easy 2 weeks, generally speaking, that you're going to have them from the day you start. We'll go through this process. You can do microgreens in your basement. You don't have to have much. They don't need light to germinate. Obviously, once they get germination, they will need some light, but any light will do. You can actually do some shelves. You can do this on just about anything. So don't think that you have to have a big greenhouse. Don't have to have anything like that. We've done them in this building, and there's people that do them inside all over the country. So don't let that stop you from doing microgreens, because it's a wonderful, wonderful product. All right, so we've got this all mixed up, and what we're looking for is that consistency that it kind of holds its shape, but water's not pouring out of that stuff. So if you get it to where it's too wet, just add a little bit more soil to it, and that'll take care of that. All right, we are ready to put the soil in the trays. What we use are two different trays here. So this is a tray that we use for our paper pots. We like these for our microgreens because they're very rigid. They're a little bit bigger than your common tray. As you can see, this is a 1020 tray that you're going to find on most greenhouse supply places. You can get these kind of trays at Bootstrap Farmer, and I believe at Bootstrap Farmer, I believe is where we get these at. But these are also, any paper pot, you can probably find these as well if you look up the paper pot system. But Bootstrap Farmer's got a lot of microgreen stuff to it, so you might check out them. So we're just going to add soil, and what we're going to do is we're going to add soil to where you do not want it even with the lip, because it makes it cutting these things a little bit more difficult. So 3/4 to half of that tray full is plenty. So we're going to do that, and we'll show you after that's finished. The more even you can make this, the easier it's going to be on you in the long run. But what you're going to do is you're going to fill that up, like I said, about 3/4 worth of soil, and then we actually have this board back over here on the thing, behind this bag, and we use that. We also have a piece of plywood that we'll smash, that we make this as flat as possible. You don't really want to compress it really hard, but you want to make it nice and even and level, which makes your seeding just a little bit easier. So you're literally just going to take that along there and give it a nice press all the way down and until the whole tray's done. Alrighty, so we are going to start with kale, I believe. And we've got the kale. And the kale, we are going to use a tablespoon, just your normal tablespoon. The kale uses a full tablespoon and then what I'm going to call a heavy half tablespoon. If you do 2 tablespoons, it's a little too much, it's a little too thick. You can get some mold issues in there. That's the other really important thing with this, is the higher the heat, the more mold prone microgreens can become. If you want really good ventilation, well, lots of times we'll have a fan running. If there's not a good airflow in the area that they're in, we get a fan going with them. It does tend to dry them out a little bit more. So these things get watered once a day. You don't want to overwater them, but you just want the soil to be moist. If it's hot and you're outside in a greenhouse or something like that, they really need 2 to 3 times a day is what it's going to take for these things to stay moist. So that's how that. So like I said, with kale, just shy of 2 tablespoons, a heavy half, 1.5. So Ella's going to get that, and you're just going to literally sprinkle that right in the tray. Now what she's doing is she's going to go ahead and measure out, and we'll show you what that is, but that's going to be about somewhere between 15 and 20 grams is what that is. And she's doing this just to make sure that she's on pretty close, but 18. So she's sitting at 18, 19 grams. So that's going to be fine. So she's going to do 2 different seedings. So we're going to separate this tray out here and get it away so that we're not getting contamination with that. But she's literally just going to, you can either do it by taking the bowl, or you can grab it and sprinkle it. And lots of times sprinkling it over and it is more effective to kind of get a good distribution. or just shaking it out. And that's all there is to really doing that. Now, like I said, we normally will use a drop seeder for this things just because it gets it a little bit more distributed even. We don't need any more of that. We're just going to do the other one. And it gets a little bit more distributed, but with a little bit of time, you get pretty even coverage. She's kind of got some spotty, and I'm not worried about too much. You can always come in here because you've got that soil, and you can spread it.
Plus the water will spread it a little bit.
Like this. There's no need to cover this up or anything. As soon as you're done with seeding it, we're going to take all of that and all of our seeding, and we're just going to water them. You want a really gentle mist. I say mist, not really a mist, but you want gentle watering over these things. You don't want to disturb the soil. So when you start to water microgreens, the best way we've found is to start your watering off to the side and then just wave it over and then stop it like that, so you're not washing out a bunch of the soil. So she's going to do the exact same thing now with radishes, but radishes is 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 tablespoons. So again, kale was 1.5 for kale, and our radishes are 3.5 tablespoons. So, and she's literally just going to do the exact same thing we just did, and then we are going to water. Now, you can stack these several high, 2 to 3 days. You want to stack them. After the 2 to 3 days, take them and you can set them out and water them again. You don't need to water them every day as they're stacked, but once you unstack them, then you need to keep an eye and don't let them dry out. It does not take but just a few, if it's warm or windy outside and you're like in the greenhouse, a couple of hours can actually make a huge difference. So just kind of keep your eye on that. We are going to do more of these videos. I'll show you this, how the radishes are spreading out. That's a little bit easier to see. That looks pretty good. She got it kind of light in the back, but you know, it's all right. We just kind of, that'll be just fine. So now we're literally just going to water. Ella's got the water on over there, so we'll have her show you how she does this. It's kind of hard over here to. Ella, you want to grab the other one too and just water it? You don't want to flood the trays. You just want them nice and moist. And if your soil, your potting soil is moist, then it's really, really quick and easy to water those, and you're not worrying about so much about the soil. It's just getting those seeds and everything contacted. So that's how you do kale and radishes. We're going to do some future ones with pea shoots, sunflower shoots. I just said peas. Pea shoots. So pea shoots, she didn't recognize what I said because peas and sunflowers are not really called microgreens. They're called shoots. And that's just what it is. Or peas are, at least. Sunflowers are probably actually called microgreen. I don't know. So we'll bring those videos to you next time. And there's lots of microgreens out there. Lots of variety of salad mixes, of spicy mixes, some odd ones out there. And there's lots of trial and error you can do with things that you like. What's interesting about the microgreen is the nutrient density of these things. A seedling has everything it needs to grow for the first several weeks of its life. So you are getting that nutrient dense food by microgreens. It's a very quick process, like I said, as little as 2 weeks. And I'm sure there's a few of them out there that are probably even quicker than 2 weeks. But you're getting that density of nutrients, and what's amazing about them is so many times they taste exactly what the vegetable itself tastes like. So a radish microgreen literally tastes like radish. It actually is depending on which variety you have, it can be a pretty spicy radish. There are lots of mustards to do out there for spice. The peas, dill, you can do dill. Lots of herbs you can do. We do cilantro. We've got cilantro in the germ chamber right now. We've got dill in the greenhouse right now. So we like herbs that way as well. And you can have fresh herbs all year long by doing it this way. And the other thing is, I was going to make another point. Oh, peas. Peas literally taste like a sugar snap pea. Sunflowers, they're a little different. People really, really like sunflowers, but they have more of a nutty taste to them. So I encourage you to try more out. The sources that we use, that's pretty important. We exclusively buy organic seed. Now that's because we grow organically, but the other thing that I feel about that is organic seed, and it's treated. It's not treated. There's no risk of that. And the other thing you do want to look at is you don't want to use regular seed for microgreens. There are seeds out there listed for microgreens. So we use today Johnny seeds. True Leaf is another one we used, and then I forget the other one we have used, but those two right there have a pretty good selection. Johnny's has not as big of a selection as True Leaf, but they have a very good selection, and their seeds are very top quality. So I encourage you to try it out. If you like what you see, if you want more content like this, we ask that you hit the like button so that we know. Share this with your friends, share this with your family, and we just thank you for your support. Till next time, pull up a chair and welcome to Tabletop Farms.